Good evening. It is Monday, I believe, still. It's been one of those days where it could have been a few days rolled into one. Lots of drama and excitement at work. And it's kind of a relief to be home and I've got my car back. All is good in the world. So, let's have a look. You can possibly see there's a wet patch looking thing here. That's because it is a wet patch, because I put this rag on it, which I'd had to wash because, well, I'd had to wash it, and I rinsed it out, and it's only damp to the touch, but it's been sitting there a little while, and apparently it was damp enough that, well, it dried itself out on my lace pillow. So that was nice of it. So my dogs are doing the I'm so insulted thing. Yeah, I'm not surprised if you leave smells like that. Right. Let's have a look. Well, as we're here, we might as well take this off and put that over here because we don't need it. And work on these. And that one. Might as well take these out. There's only two left. Put you up here. And you are all part of the deal. You should be behind this pin. You are not. How rude of you. Behind the pin. There we go. So, this won't be an epically long stream today, but it is still a stream, so here I am. I did not get to fill the mushroom today. Sorry, the little hedgie. So, we're still on pins in pot. Which is, kind of... It's not a bad thing, but, would have been nicer if I'd had the time. But as I say, it was kind of hectic at work today, so... lots of things going on. So, it'd be good to see some of you in here and hear about your day, because, well, it can only be better. Well, that's not true, actually. I can think of worse things, but I am keen to hear what you all have to say. So, it would be good to hear you represent yourselves out there. So, let's make you slightly shorter. The bobbins I ordered over the weekend have shipped. They are with UPS, so that's a good thing. I'm pleased they're not sending them the same way they did last time. playing with the pins again? I think you have. Because no. You are the next set of bobbins, not you. That's why. Back you go. Let's try that again. Should be you, which it is. Oh shit! Oh, just knocked my pin pot over. We all know how much joy that brings me. Now, fortunately, quite a few of them got stuck on me, stroke the table, and I did catch the pot before it completely landed upside down and threw its contents everywhere. So I have got the majority of the pins still in the pot. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's still quite a few on the floor, but I did stop 99% of the pins running away. And of course I've managed to spear myself. Come on, ouch. That'll be why my hand hurts then. So that's... Let me move my table just a little bit. Pull out the pins from that. Now, what can I attach this to? Oh, I know what I could do. This works quite well. Put the magnet in a cloth and send the cloth round the floor a bit. Why do you do that, Liz? Well, because then, when I've picked up 99% of the pins, like this, you put them over the pot, like this, and so that they want to be part of the pot, and then you extract, with difficulty, ouch, pointy ends, the magnets and the pins, mostly, are in the pot and not attached to the magnet, and you didn't spend 3 hours cleaning the magnet. So, we need one more trip down, because there's still a few down there, but not many. But I don't really want them in dog paws, so we need to make a bit more of an effort. No, not attaching to the metal base of the table, please. I mean, it has to be said, this is one of those things where you pick up what you think is all the pins, you're pretty confident you've got all the pins, and then you discover you didn't actually get all the pins, because you stand up and you find that there's a big pile of pins that you didn't get. So, there was a near disaster. Well, that kind of sums up how my days went. So... So, I think one that really embedded itself into it. I'm pretty confident that is like 99% of the pins. Now bear in mind, all of these pins had the opportunity to run away. I think I did a pretty good job at saving that. I do usually have pretty quick reactions. I'm going to do the put those back on the magnet thing, because then they tend to want to stay, because I've taken them off the magnet thing. Oh look, I've just spotted another pin. They do tend to, could have been attached, could have been hiding in my blanket, I guess. But I had to detach them. Oh, there's another one. A bit further away. There it is. I just saw another one make a leap for freedom. Oh, I've seen 3 now. 4. Because of course the magnet does mean that they tend to want to not come out of the pod. So, now we've stabbed myself a few times. 1, 2, 3, 4. We need a new pair of bobbins. And we do the thing. That was painful and exciting. But never mind. We continue onwards. So, let's lengthen you slightly. Back we go. Bits for drink, that's what I need. My computer's being annoying today. Pardon me. Let me put up a pin message. That's a good idea. 2, 3, 4. That's right. 5. last one. It is you. It just doesn't look quite right. Okay. One, two, three, four, five. You're too short because you're pulling. There you go. I mean, this one's bound to be the shortest, but it's not like I asked much. So. There we go. You go up there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you're a bit short. Let's sort these out because you are a bit short. So you are also very short. So we need to lengthen all of you. You're not the next one either. It's you hiding back here. Oh, good. Excuse me. Stickety stick. Sorry, just watching a guy who's streaming. I have him on like a radio sometimes when I'm streaming, because if I'm not streaming, I'd normally be watching. And he's in the middle of a game that I'm also playing, which I totally suck at. But I'm doing a bit better this time round. I've started a new character and I'm doing a bit better. So, but it's interesting to watch him. He makes it look so easy, and he seems to have the luck of the gods sometimes. Lots of games have lots of gamers will tell you that there's basically a random generator god, and you can be in disfavour with the random generator god, or you can be loved by the random generator god. Sometimes you get the best of everything and there's no rhyme nor reason, and sometimes you get the suckiest crap that ever was to exist for also no good reason. And my current character has been doing alright, got a couple of bits that I've always wanted, because you are at the mercy of the random generator god, and it is kind of fascinating to see this guy who... There's a whole lot of ways to add randomness to what you get. So in the game, you get an item, and it has random stats on it. You've then got orbs. By the way, it's Path of Exile 2, but you then have orbs that you can apply to said object. Now, not all orbs are equal. Some you can only do if it's... So there's like rarities of objects, and some orbs of certain rarities. That's fine. But he's just corrupted it, which slightly loses me, because although I know that once you've corrupted it, you can't do some things to it, you can still do some things to other things to it. And I haven't entirely worked out, because frankly, it's a little... Well, I haven't really got to this point of the game where I've got enough things to do this. But one of his characters, seriously... I really don't understand. He got literally everything his little heart desired, and you know, he almost had to just walk into the room and everything died. And I'm not quite sure how that one died. I'd have to go and have a look. But I've just got the ring that helped him do that. But my stats are also looking pretty good compared to normal at this point. I've got like double everything I normally do, so I'm feeling a little bit, I won't say cocky, but you know, feeling a little more confident that I can survive some of this stuff. So let's do these because... Let's continue to the bottom. Are these bobbins in play? This bobbin's really bent. This feels like I've missed a row. I did. All the way back here somewhere. It's here. Let's fill you in down so. I thought it seemed short. sleeve. Right. Don't need you till the next triangle. You're done with for now. What shall I do? So, I think what we shall do is stonk down this bit of cloth stitch. So let's have a quick. Take you out a second because you seem to be wrong. You're just kind of, well, you are, but you're not. Just kind of tweaking it out on both. 1, 2, 3, 4. Stick you back in the corner. You're a bit long. It's funny how they just keep getting longer and longer sometimes. 4 then. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wow. I must have screwed up somewhere. Any snoring you may hear is the dog. It's a little brown one actually. Hello, how are you? Fair enough. Keeping you quiet. Have you got a picture where I can see? Let me see if I can go find. Hang on. Hello! How you doing, Naughty Cat? That form. I had a hectic day at work. I've got my car back. Just looking through Morrowind's Instagram. Wow, you've been busy. You make some very pretty quilts. Yes, stuff like that. I'm one of those people where part of me would want to finish them because that's what they'd want, but part of me doesn't want to finish them because, well, that's their work, not mine. And I inherited a lot of stuff. Well, I didn't inherit it. It was my ex-father-in-law's stuff. When he died, and I inherited all of his crafting stuff because some of the family had a little bit of a habit of throwing out important things. Now, I did have a little bit of I'll happily take his crafting stuff and look after it and keep it, and some of it is very beautiful, but I'm not taking all of it. I mean, I wish someone had, but I didn't want them. The problem was, nor did anyone else. He had done a large number of quite big cross-stitch pictures. The problem was, you see, that's different. If you, I mean, the only thing my mother ever passed down to me was how to knit wrongly. So, and kind of starving me as a child. So, my gran used to knit, but she and I never talked about it. So yes, we don't have that kind of in my family. My parents passed down to me the want to craft, but not anything specific nor something to continue. But yeah, I was going somewhere and I've lost it. I had something and I can kind of see it, but not quite. It's gone a bit murky. One of those ideas. But yeah, that's right. So his crafting stuff. He'd done these beautifully. I mean, they were huge. They made this pillow look small, right? But they were things that I mean, they weren't ugly. They weren't of things that like rude things or stuff that you couldn't put on your wall. Which is why I hope one of the children would actually take them. They were just not something I'd put on my wall. And I felt that they deserved to be on a wall. So he'd done things like, there was one of two elderly gentlemen who had clearly gone fishing. Well, it's not like they were people I'd known. They're not like it was anything like that. So why would I want it? It's been a long day, Nautical. It's been a long day. Back again. Now, tis... Well, I'm not going to say I didn't. I mean, I'm not going to say I was that early. I think I was when I tried to knit, but that was, as I say, my mother's idea of knitting was wholly against, like, all knitting kind. But my father did embroidery and tapestry and woodwork. Awesome! I do love when ads are really wholly appropriate. I get adverts for Milton Keynes, which is east of here by quite a bit, and a bit of a bitch to drive to. It'd take about an hour and a bit to drive there. In British terms, that's miles away. It's completely irrelevant. I'm pretty sure I'm not even been to Milton Keynes. Yet mine keeps giving me adverts on Facebook, especially for Milton Keynes, like, date people in Milton Keynes. No, I don't date people in where I live, let alone in Milton Keynes. I'm not driving all the way over there to meet some idiot. No, goodness gracious. So, you know, it is one of those... So, yeah, it is one of those frustrations, right? Is that on Facebook I get lots of adverts for diet pills, or the kind of diet injections that are pretending that they're safe but aren't. I get wolf porn. I'm not quite sure where that's come from. I get what's the one lot I've been getting recently? This last week or so, I've been getting a new set of stupid things that I have absolutely zero interest. Hey, let's open Facebook and find out what it is, because I'm bound to get some, aren't I? Because pretty much every other frigging post on Facebook is an advert. So let's see. Let's have a look. Looking for the adverts here. Seems a bit shorter on adverts for a change. Maybe I finally told enough of them to sod off. Oh, where's the sponsored ones? Why is it for the first time in like forever, I've scrolled through 3 or 4 pages of stuff and haven't had a single advert? That never happens. You'll have to be my witnesses that I got all the way through it. There's a few recommendational ones that I'm not interested in, but for once I don't see any sponsored ones. Scrolling a bit further down. Seriously, how is this? How how am I not seeing adverts? Dear Lord, I've never got this far without seeing adverts. I have clearly offended the advert god, for which I'm proud. But there's been a whole spate of stuff, and it's all stuff that's absolutely irrelevant. It almost couldn't be more irrelevant if it tried. And I don't get it. I mean, in this day and age where Google knows everywhere you've been, and so does your phone, and where I mean physically and both internetly, you know, your Amazon search history, everything. I mean, I do tend to turn off targeted ads in things and try and stop, you know, my things being spread round so that every website, you know, if I Google something for someone else, the last thing I need is for the next 6 months of my life to be plagued by it. But I do know people who have conversations, so maybe on the phone or me talking to you like this, and their bitch-faced devices pick up on that, and then forevermore, Amazon is showing you things relevant to that conversation. I don't get that either. I definitely have a bit of a yarn warehouse issue, in that, well, my old house has a bedroom full of yarn. My new house has a hallway full of yarn. So I've got yarn. I really don't need more yarn. But I'll still buy new yarn because, as discussed on stream yesterday, the biggest problem with being a crafter, especially when there are dye lots, is that if you buy yarn, fabric, felt, anything, right, and it's got a colour to it that is a man-made dye colour to it, you can't guarantee that should you get halfway through your project and realise you're going to need a bit more, you will be able to buy an exact match. Now, there are some things that are dye lot free and, shouts from the two rooftops about the joys of that, and that is a thing to behold. But for most of us, dye lots matter. So this means that when you come to do a project and you look at it and you go, how much stuff will I need? Well, I'm not really sure. So you overbuy, because you have no choice. So you overbuy, you get to the end of your product, and you've now got, well, let's say, just under half left. Well, this means that you now have to do a considerably smaller project to feel comfortable you will have enough of said product to make the new thing. Or you have to buy more. So depending on the size of your projects, and bear in mind I am a go big or go home kind of girl, if you're making king size blankets, if you have any doubt that you've not got enough of a colour, well, you're ordering again, aren't you? And of course, then again, you get to the end and you've got just under half. So now you've got just under half of two different shades of the same colour, but you can't use either should you require a third product that is of similar size and shape. So to all the partners who can hear me, this is why we hoard shit. Because we have to overbuy so that we can have enough, because believe me, if you could... Well, and this is the sad part. It is the truth. If this fabric here, if I needed to match this, chances are I could not. Not entirely, so you have to buy a huge amount of it to be able to match it. And there is always doubt. And of course, if you've ever tried doing something and you've had to go with a second dye lot, it sticks out like a sore thumb. Utterly and totally sticks out like a sore thumb. To the point, if it's blue, you might as well order a pink one, because it's going to show. And it's horrific, because it makes your whole thing that you've spent hours making that was looking really professional and cool look cheap and nasty. And even minor things, if you bought 8 buttons and find out you needed 9, well, if you can't find those buttons again, now what do? Well, you now have 8 buttons you don't want and you have to buy 9 new ones. Well, at least you've got him prepared mentally for the choices in life. I do tend to kind of go all in. I do tend to buy what might be argued to be excessive amounts at any one point in time. Ask the lady I assume it's a lady, the person from whom I ordered more of those bobbins from the weekend, because, well, I bought 150 to start with. Now 150 is not a slacking amount. Bear in mind that's arguably 2 lots of squares on the go at the same time's worth. I ordered 750 more. Yes, you heard me right. 750 more. Why? Because my brain is still absolutely adamant. No, you see, nor do I. It's my money and I can spend it how I like. But I don't really spend it on anything else. And because my car was cheaper to repair than I expected, well, the money I'd put aside for the car, well, it was burning a hole in my hands. So I bought more bobbins that I like. It is... Now, I do have to point out that I will be obsessively using these new bobbins for a while. Not that these bobbins are horrible, or any of my other bobbins are horrible, except for these spangled bobbins, which of course are evil. Well, and that's the problem. When it comes to... I mean, we know that this is 74 bobbins. Well, if I want to then... And that's about, say, 2¼ inches... Well, if I now need to make 18 inches, I need 6 times that. Well, suddenly, most of those bobbins are gone on just making this exact pattern in one piece. Let alone if I wanted to make it out of finer thread and a little bit more dense. It might not even be enough. And so it really isn't hard to knead a lot of things. Now, obviously, like most crafters, works in progress are a thing. She says, looking at the weekend's pillow with all the bobbins dangling off it. In fact, if I lift up my tin of squares and move the post that I had placed on top of it, because I need to go and have a blood test apparently. I lift this up and look, there are a load of bobbins. So those bobbins are absolutely fantabulous, and I do love them dearly, and all of those kind of things. So, you know, I've got 68 bobbins on that pillow. Well, that's kind of nearly half the ones that I bought, and it's making a tiny square. So what if I chose to do my neck curtain in that style? Well, then I'm going to need 5,053 billion of the stupid things, and that is a tad overkill. But you do. You see, that's the kind of thing, is that you get this, you know, flea up your butt or whatever, you know, and you find yourself going, I have a need. I have this burning, soul-deep need to achieve something. And it can be a really stupid thing. But you find yourself in a position to need to do something, and then you need the tools and the things and the... So just looking at this and wondering... So I'm just counting bobbins. Well, and that's the thing. I think most crafters have an understanding, because, you know, I know that it's a bit of a meme that blokes don't see as many colours as women do. I'm not convinced that that's entirely true. I really don't. I mean, it is more common for men to be colourblind than women. Women carry the gene, but men are generally the sufferers. But at the same time, I'm not convinced that men don't or can't see the different colours. I think a lot of it is they don't care. Because to a large extent, you know, does it matter what you call a colour? Sorry, I'm just trying to put this in its right place. It still looks wrong. It's because it is. I need it to go between. Well, you see, I think that's the difference, is that... I mean, let's look. This blue is not this blue. It's also not this blue. But the truth of the matter is either you kind of want a dark blue or you want a lighter blue. Or maybe you want a greeny blue or a purpley blue. But other than that, does the exact hue really matter? Unless you're matching something else. No, it's not. And I think this is where kind of the men thing falls in, is that men will go, I want a dark blue thing. I know, I fancy having a dark blue couch. They are not there with their RGB meter going, oh, no, I really wanted like one more blue in that. It doesn't work that way. Whereas women are that picky, frankly. Or some women are that picky. Not all of us. And so, as I say, if you are matching something, that's different. Because if I was going to make something to go with this, I would want it to match or complement this. But I don't care if the blues are slightly different. It doesn't offend me that this blue is not this blue. The blue is, I mean, it could be green. Well, hence I've got a red one and a brown one. I've got some other colours somewhere. I've got a few more shades of brown somewhere. Because it is a cloth forming a function. It's like people who are really kind of anal about their tea towels, right? So they have their tea towels and they must be this exact colour. Why? You're wiping damp dishes with it. What difference does it make? Wow. Well, breaking... Yeah, got green, mainly green, predominantly green. Yeah, because it does help, because then once you've done those, you've done all of the, say, green ones, you know then that you don't have to recount them if you lose count, because you've done those. You only have to do, say, now, the red ones. You know, yep, I'm kind of with you on that. Have you also noticed as a crafter, when it comes to counting things or categorising or sorting or anything, doing your own, near impossible. Doing someone else, cake. Heartbeat. I could count your things and categorise them in a heartbeat. My own, no, because I've seen them too much. Oh, bless him. He was trying real hard, Mum. He was trying real fucking hard. Oh, no. Yeah. I can imagine. Oh, bless him. I mean, to be honest, I've got a co-worker like that. I was talking... I bore my co-worker, he bores me. We both do the polite thing, all right? And I like my co-worker, I really do. He's a great guy. And I was explaining the difference in lace between Bucks Point and Binch, as I keep calling it. Basically was the order of the crosses and the twists. And in one of our team meetings, we were encouraged to tell people of our hobbies. And I went, you so don't want to hear mine. And I bore Steve with them, and he goes, yeah, I learned all about how these ones are cross twist twist, and these ones are twist twist cross, and it's like, oh my god, he actually remembered. He actually remembered it, and you know, this is a quality to be enamoured with, to be honest. But as you say, right, it's because they're trying, and. You know, he knows that I don't really have anyone on that level to vent and talk to. And his family has some issues. And sometimes, you know, especially when it comes to work, we vent at each other, which is why you hear the ping, 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 ping. Sometimes it's other people, but usually it's me. And I love him to pieces. I really, really do. But we both do it. We both have memorised so much about the stories we've heard from each other that, you know, I can almost tell, you know, I can tell you what exams his kids are doing. It's you know, I have actually technically now met his children, but it is one of those things is that you know, you invest time and memories. And, you know, I'm pretty sure if I asked Steve, could he look at this and tell me what he thought, he would give me as much of an honest opinion as he was capable of. And I have every faith in that. And your son did what he thought you wanted, which was not to just kind of go, well, you've got, you know, 803 of them. He sat there and he tried to categorise them by colour, and not just the bloke kind of green, blue, red, yellow kind of thing. He went, well, these are lighter, these are darker, and then, well, these are even lighter than those ones. So, and it can be one of those things is we've all done it. You half kind of group them and then realise that group looks a bit big and there's quite a range in it. So you divide them up a bit, and then you divide them up a bit more, and you divide them up a bit more. And eventually you've now kind of, you know, categorised them almost into chronological order, and it's kind of getting a bit daft, you know. But we've all done it to an extent. Yeah, it started out with one intention of just splitting them up into, say, light and dark, and ended up with, as I say, a complete chronological colour hue, you know. And kind of gone, I didn't mean to do that, but I have now. You know, I've completely colour-coded my entire life, you know. It's very good to do that with you, Jan, has to be said. A friend of mine did that to my yarn collection. What I didn't have the heart to tell her was she did a bad thing. Now, the sorting of the yarn was not the bad thing. What was the bad thing was that she took them all out of their plastic bags. So I'd got some wool that comes in, you often get like 10 balls of wool in a plastic thing. She took them out of the plastic thing, which of course then opens them to potential moth and other joys and dust and things. And it was kind of like, shame you did that. So I was slightly disappointed, because obviously it was protected before. Now it's not. But she had done a cracking job. She had sorted them, like you say, into kind of red, green, and then she did like the mix of colours in between them, and it must have taken her friggin' hours. And, you know, I was truly impressed, because it did look phenomenal. But at the same time, it was kind of like, I'm never going to find shit, am I? Because all the things I knew where they were aren't there now. Now they've moved. Well done. At least she didn't take all the labels off. I suppose I should be grateful for that. That would have been horrendous. Because then you're there in a really bright light. Yeah. And again, it's not because yeah, I think we can all, I think this is part of the reason I'm actually naturally messy, is because if I do it, I want it done absolutely. And my life's too short for that. I haven't got the time for that. I do need to find a box to store my new bigger bobbins in, because I can't believe that they are half a frigging centimetre longer than the boxes that I've got. Speaking of which, so bobbin. Actually, where's the other tape measure? Because that one's not... See, my tape measure's all thinged up because it's a big tape measure. And then I have a smaller tape measure for smaller things. So, it is... Let's measure it in centimetres. It is, as expected, 13 centimetres. I just wanted to actually check. Because while I ordered 13 centimetres... Well, what if it's not? Because we've all had that one before. It says it is, but it's not. So, they're 13 centimetres. So I need something that will fit 13 centimetres in. So something that's around about 15, but preferably slightly smaller. Do useful box. Let me have a quick look. By the way, for some reason, well, I know exactly why I do it. Yes, yes, I do. And that's the kind of thing is they deserve that. They deserve like a mother and pearl inlaid ebony box, you know. Do you ever have one of those days, or one of those moments, in fact, where you either speak in a meeting or you post on an internet thing, and it's like you so don't exist that you say something, and about 10 minutes later someone says pretty much word for word exactly what you said, and they're heralded saviour of the universe. I get a bit fed up with that. So let me have a quick look. I want really useful boxes. Hang on. They're called really useful boxes. Give me, thank you, really useful 15 centimetres. 20 litres is too big. 12 litres sounds big. No, yeah, because it's 15 centimetres tall, not wide. 6.5. Hang on, 6.5 litre ones that hold CDs, maybe. Hang on. The problem I find with a lot of these things is you say, I want something so big, and it doesn't actually tell you what you need to know. So you'll say things like, I want a 6-inch bolt. So it sends you 4-inch bolts, 5-inch bolts, 9-inch bolts. No, I wanted a 6-inch bolt. I don't want all the other ones. I want a 6-inch bolt. See, that's definitely 22 litres is definitely too many. What are these? These have potential. 4 litres. Measurements. See, 29, I asked for 15 centimetres, so I didn't mind whether it was height or width, and it's 39.5 long and 25.5 wide and 8.5 inch high. Where's the 15 centimetre, Amazon? Come on. These are the ones that I think I've got. I'm pretty sure these are the ones that I bought. Measurements. 12 long, yeah, that'll be the ones. Bastards. What are you? Measurements. 13 wide. Now the problem is that 13 wide on the inside or the outside? The betting will be the outside. Which is why I asked for 15 centimetres. this is the problem. I mean, sometimes you're really quite specific with what you want, right? You know, so for example, this background here is craft brown paper and it comes in A4, right? You search for that and you get green, blue, pink, and it's not the craft brown paper and it's not the cheap shitty paper that I wanted. And you're kind of going, I'm sorry, but how does that meet my criteria? I mean, if I tell you that I need size 6 shoes, don't be giving me no other size shoes because they're going to be no good to me. But they do. And especially if it's clothing. Basically, they'll try and... I swear they do it to catch you out. I actually swear they do it so that you'll order it in the hopes that you won't return it. I actually swear that's why they do it. I shouldn't. See, that's huge again. See if I can do that. See, there's no way this is the right size. Measurements. 48 by 39 by 20. What part of that is 15 centimetres wide? Which is what I asked for. That's quite cool though. The little plastic boxes which, hang on, let me grab you it. Hang on. I've only got one hand because my phone's in the other one. So let me extract off the pile of bobbins that are on top. These little boxes that I have quite a lot of, which are great for storing all my other bobbins, but not these bobbins, because these ones are just that little bit longer. They make a organiser for it for 16 of them. I might need to get me that.
Morodom said, I have some smaller boxes like that. They are so useful.
Well, they are, because you can put a pile of small things in it, and you can see the small things in it, but also keep them clean, safe. You can knock it off because you can flip up the ends to keep them shut. Yeah, the reason these don't fit is because, of course, it's 12.5 centimetres, which is, of course, why the 13 centimetre bobbins don't fit. So yes. I'm not sure that these don't even come with 16 more boxes in. I don't know if you can see that. Just at the top, there's a picture of a Mini balanced on these storage boxes. These boxes are phenomenal, though. I do love them. You can literally use them for everything. Getting very frustrated because of all the things. Oh, no, that's not it. All the things, they don't make it easy to find. Okay, let's try it this way. Storage. That's not how you spell storage. Storage 15 wide. Because, of course, it's not essential that they're clear and made by really useful. I just happen to like their stuff. None of this shit's 15 centimetres wide, Amazon. None of it. Absolutely none of it. Well, I can... Oh, I can have a square box that's 15 by 15 by 15. But it's cardboard. Well, it's something a little bit better than cardboard. Why? I can't be the only person in the entire universe who wants a box that's 15 centimetres wide. I really can't. See, best house plastic storage box. This one at least does mention 15 centimetres, but it's 15 centimetres high. I don't really want to stand them on their ends, you know? You're 15 centimetres high. You're 15 centimetres high. Apparently 15 centimetres high is really in. Or cardboard. For widths. No one seems to make them in non-cardboard. Ooh. Wouldn't be enough, but a trinket box of 15 by 10 by 6. Yeah, you finally found one, but of course that's the outside sizes, not the inside sizes. But 15's probably enough for that. It's just so frustrating when you... This is why, you see, we want 3D printers. Yeah. Let me just deal with the arsehole spammer that has decided to come along, because we don't like them round here. Especially when it's called bisexual heretic. So, spam bot. Next. Yes, go. Done. Ban. Alright. Yeah, as you say, why is it that you just can't find a decent... And you shouldn't have to go to a box making company and do a special order. It just seems ridiculous that you just can't get flat things, or you can't get... I mean, it's like, for example, if you were making, I don't know, jumpers, you could at least roll them up. But you want them to be protected. You don't want no flimsy box. You want a decent box, and preferably waterproof. Why is it that they make it so hard to find? I mean, obviously it's very difficult that you can't have every size in the entire universe, but you can't even find clothes. So in your case, 24 inches is a reasonable size to expect. Sure, if you wanted 24 and a quarter, or yeah, that's a bit specific. But I'd expect 24, 26, you know, or 24, 25, 30, 50. You know, you expect a range, and yet quite often you can't. And as you say, I mean... in theory, they should be roll-upable, right? As they're a soft thing. It's not like you're mailing a plate. It is, you know, they should be roll-upable. But you still want a strong cardboard box so they don't get damaged. I'd be tempted to roll. But but not, you're obviously not around a toilet roll or something roll. I'm talking, you know, roll it around itself. The embroidery should roll, but the beadwork definitely adds complications to it. But as you say, why is it that it's just really hard? I mean, I've got... The only thing you can do would be to buy some chipboard, because you can buy like 1mm chipboard, MDF or chipboard, and make yourself a wooden box out of it. But that's a bit tough. You shouldn't have to be making boxes. That's, you know, that seems a little much for, you know, just for the sake of, I want to mail you the thing I made, you know. As you say, it seems so hard to come by the right storage. So I definitely understand that one. That's not the one I wanted. That was a bit overkey. No, that is the one I want. And of course, the other problem you get with a lot of these things is some things, of course, are in centimetres, some are in millimetres, some are in inches, some... I mean, ideally, I wouldn't use plastic boxes for storing things because, well, plastics, you know, I don't need an entire house crammed full of plastic. And being the daughter of a carpenter, I'd rather it was wood. But at the same time, you can't always find what you want in a wooden box capacity. Or the wooden box is just so impractical that that's not going to work either. And... Oh, look, Twitch has acted my own report. Said douche has now left the building. But, as you say, finding kind of 24-inch decent pizza boxes, you know. So there you go. I searched for 24-inch pizza box. First hit, 50 plain pizza boxes. 9 inches. What part of that is 24, please? Seriously. What part of that? Oh, that's a 20-inch one. I've got some... I can do you 20-inch pizza boxes, but not 24 yet. Hang on. 12 inches. 12, 9... 20... 20 seems popular. But of course, calling them pizza boxes doesn't help. Oh, there's a 24 which is 12 by 24, so you can have half of one. .22-inch pizza box. Yeah. And then they wonder why you've got 58 tons of packing crap. And it starts getting expensive then. I thought was on a winner then. I found a pizza dough proofing box that was 60 by, which is in centimetres obviously, but it's not wide, it's not square. So pizza dough boxes come in 60 by 40, but not square. As you say, why is it you type in, like I wrote 60 centimetre flat box, took the word pizza out and replaced with flats. That's closer. Telescopic cardboard box, 80 by 18 by 60. So that's 24 inches by what? 30? 10 of them, however, are £150. Not quite what we're after, I think, there. You might want to look into telescopic boxes. They do seem to come in more reasonable sizes. And so, for example, there's one here, let's say this one. So, for example, while you obviously want 24 inches, so there is one that is 70 by 90. Bear in mind this is 70 centimetres by 9. And then the telescopic bit allows it to go from 50 to 90. So you could make that 70 centimetres squared by 9 centimetres. That's the closest I found, and that is £21. And in fact, let me copy that. Copy. And come along to Twitch and find my thing. And they make it so. Where's my no channel? Sorry if you hear me. Hear it because it hasn't. Sorry if you hear me. Yeah, it's going to be delayed. Hang on. Pause. Thank you. Let me paste that in. I know it's on Amazon EU, but it might give you something to look for alternative countries. There you go. But why do they make it so friggin' hard? You know, it shouldn't be hard. You should be able to go to Amazon and go, I want a 6-inch bolt, which is, you know, an M4 6-inch bolt. Why is that so hard? Because they give you everything. Any 6-inch bolts will not be M4, and anything that's M4 is not a 6-inch bolt. Well, then none of them fit. And I remember explaining this to a woman. I said I was trying to find this and I couldn't. And she Googled it. She searched for it on Amazon and she went, what about these? And I went, they're not 6 inches. And she went, oh yeah. Well, love, you work there and you can't get it to bring up the right shit. Come on. Not a problem. But, as I say, it should not be that hard to go to the universe, especially with the internet, where you've got pretty much everything in the entire world mentioned somewhere online, and go, I want a 24-inch square box, you know, generally not that tall if that's okay by you. And you would expect for that to come out the other end with 24-inch by 24-inch boxes. Why is that so hard? And so, yeah, I struggle with it all the time. And it's an unnecessary thing, in my mind. It should not be that difficult. You know, we've got AI that can recognise voices and fake you with phone calls to your parents and, you know, all of this kind of stuff, but we can't search for a particular size and actually get it. Well, yes and no. I mean, I think the problem is it's popular in the wrong direction. For they are using it to do sensible things, such as identify things in screening for medical, and that, you know, they're training on all those kinds of things, which is the right thing to do with it. You know, to primarily check, you know, I know whether this cancer thing's got cancer or not. You know, those are good, sensible things to do with it. But at the same time, what it seems to be used for is doing people's homework, faking posts for the internet, and drawing crappy art. Can we not? So yeah. As I say, it's really annoying when you search for, I don't know, long black t-shirt. Well, here's a blue one, here's a green one, here's a short one, here's a crop top. I never asked for any of those things. Can we just, you know... I mean, I can understand you've shown me all the things that were closer matches. Now cite, these are similar but not quite items. Are any of these of interest? But don't be pretending. And half the time, the thing you want is like 3/4 of the way down the screen. So they actually had what you wanted. But when you searched on it, even though you used all the right words, the thing you wanted was all the way down. And all the things you didn't want were above it. I mean, I'm good at Google searches, to be honest. I am very good at Google searches. And why are you... It's because... Hang on. This isn't right, Smell. It's because I didn't finish it. Like that. Right. So yeah, it's... But as you say, why is it you just want something simple, and yet finding it seems so impossible? You know, as I say, I'm looking for a box that's of a reasonable size, but not, you know, the size of a planet, to put some bobbins in. I ideally would like it in the style of the really useful boxes, that are clear and have a lid that clips down on it. Exactly. I mean, it is just a kind of... You have to swear they're doing it to try and fool you to buy the wrong things. It's almost like they're hoping you'll buy it and not return it because it's not what you actually wanted. Or, as I say, the thing you actually wanted is a bunch of pages down, and by then you've given up because all the ones you've done that were, quote, you know, better matches according to the search thing weren't it. Exactly. And again, that's where you have to find frustration is. I mean, I noticed earlier, right? So, for example, there was I mooch on eBay. I kind of window shop on eBay because sometimes there's some bargains, and mostly there isn't. There's people chancing it by buying it for 10 quid on Amazon and flogging it for 60 on eBay. So, needless to say, won't be buying that. Well, I know. But as you say, you do. Oh, of course, there's adverts. But as you say, you want something really simple. You search. I want, I know, cotton sheets, linen sheets. I want, extra fluffy tea towels. And you get everything but what you asked for. So yeah, it is. Well, you should all be back from that now, so. These are, hang on, I put the boxes over there. These are Prim 50 half millimeter by 30 millimeter pins. They're just kind of a big bulk of thing. So I bought some more. So I bought the half millimeter ones and the 0.6 millimeter ones for when if I decide I need some slightly chunkier ones. But the half millimeter ones came in a beautiful plastic box. Wish you could buy the plastic box. Of course you can't. If you hang on a sec, let me get to the end of this row and I'll grab the box and I'll show you. And from our earlier conversation, you will understand that yes, I did slightly overdo the pin collection, but as I chucked my pins all over the floor earlier this evening, it's not necessarily a bad thing. Because to be honest, I am aware that some of the pins in this pot are not the same. Most of them are, but there are a few that are not. Now it doesn't matter because they don't seem to be the chronically bendy pins, which is all that really matters. But they are not the same. Hang on, let me go put this up here, poke that. Let me just sneak my table back a bit. So I bought some pins, and here's the plastic box. These are the well, I do that, you can read them. They are the Prim 0.5 30mm pins. And slightly disappointingly, discussion earlier with flimsy cardboard boxes, this is the 0.6mm box, and it already looks slightly dog-eared and I barely touched it. This is because these kind of pull out, which of course makes them flimsy and shit. So that's a bad thing, but these are my pins that I have bought as backups for when I need more pins. Part of the reason I bought more pins is because we are choosing this time round to leave the pins in the work rather than just the ones on the outside and down the joining line in the middle. It is going to be a shit when it comes to take them all out at the end, because there will be like 1,000 and something pins to be pulling out, but it should combat a particular problem, which if I grab my tin of squares, Rory, you're lying on it, I need a dark cloth, thank you. So if I put this down so that you can see it, if I put this down, if you look for example at this corner, all of these rose grounds are great little squares with all the rest of it. If you look at this corner, these ones are all mushed because you work round in this order. So this is the back, I do this corner, I then do this corner, and as I turned obviously round, I had pulled a number of the pins out, and in tensioning these, it shrunk all these down. So to combat that, we're all in. Because I left 3 lots of pins, which is why the top halves fell down on the bottom half of that second row, because clearly 3 rows of pins was not enough. So I've gone all in and decided that, well, then we keep all the pins in, and now it can't pull the pins because, well, they'll there'll be no threads that can be pullable because they'll all be weighted down. Hence, under here, all the pins are still in. So it is going to make it an absolute bind to pick them out at the end, though. Really not looking forward to that because it was long enough already, to be honest. It was no mean feat to undo all of the pins to get it off the pillow. So I can't say I'm looking forward to that one in a hurry. But if it's worth it, it's worth it. You know how it is. Sat quite back down where I was. It's really 10:30. How did it make it to 10:30? Problem is I don't want to finish. I don't want to finish stream before finishing this block, because much like we said about dye lots, if you stop in the middle of something, potentially there is a tension issue. Shouldn't be in lace, but it can be a thing, I'm sure. Well, funny you should mention pin pulls. So, my tool here, the magic pin pushing tool, if I stab a pin in a hole, let's do one down here. So if I push it in a hole and I push it all the way down, it's got a little thing so that the top, the head of the pin fits nicely in. What it also means is there is a lip that, I should push down a little bit too well, really. But it's got a lip that then means you can lift your pin up. Now, you do get ones with little loops on. So they're more like, I don't think I've got a loop one, but the idea is that you can kind of hook it underneath and pull. The problem is those ones do tend to have issues, apparently, with pulling the thread, as can those. Because they're metal on metal, it can bite at the thread. So it is just one of those kind of, I mean, I probably shouldn't use my fingers, or my fingernails, but I do, because I can feel what it's doing a lot more. So it's not, I mean, I don't generally get finger fatigue. I generally make chips and dents in my nails. Not that I'm particularly fussed whether I have chips or dents in my nails. Actually, that's not true. If my nails are catching on something, I get really pissy, to be honest. Because inevitably, like anything that catches, it now catches on absolutely everything. I wouldn't mind, but the streamer I've got on in the background, like a radio, because I can't see what he's doing, he usually plays really good music. And what do I mean by really good music? I'm kind of free and easy with the styles of music. Pretty much if it's got a tune and words, I'm kind of down, right? Thrash metal is a little bit beyond me. But to be fair, I do have one genre that I'm not against, but it doesn't fill me with joy. And it's what we Brits call shit shoveling music. To the Americans, country. Now some of it I'm fine with, but some of it not so much. And currently he's got 16 tons going, and I don't dislike it, but it's kind of like a minute ago it was like 90s games music. So I was sitting here thinking, oh, I recognise that, you know. Not that I'm a big gamer, but but we do. But you know, earlier we had things like Red Alert, and I played Red Alert, so I recognised that. He had some Star Wars. He had there's lots of things, and there was some stuff I didn't recognise, but it was perfectly kind of, well, it's games music. It's going to be kind of upbeat. It's either going to be a bit intense because it's for fighting or not. But I can't tell who's singing it because it's a bit quiet. Because I do have it really quite quiet. Well, and that's the thing. I think rap doesn't... Well, it depends on the rap. Some rap works for me. I would say the majority of it doesn't. As you say, modern country can be a little bit kind of... Possibly. As I said, bear in mind, I've got you on text-to-speech, so you are a reasonable volume in my ear, right? So you sound like, the text-to-speech voice sounds like they're sitting next to me talking to me. Then I've got this guy in the background, quiet, so that he doesn't conflict with the sound. So if I said to you, this is my normal speaking voice, his speaking voice is about this level. Then the music in his stream is even quieter. So you really have to be kind of listening to work out what it is. Because obviously he's gaming on top of that and talking. So he did play Toto, and I've got an amazing ability to spot Toto Africa from even the quietest, tiniest sound. I really scared a lady in a car once. We were driving along. We were driving up the A40. We were in London at the time. We were driving up. Well, we were driving up the A40 to Oxford, and it was the hottest day. We were sweating like horses and sticking to the car. It was grossly unpleasant. And she turned the volume down so that we could, find the building, because, like lots of people, turn the volume down so you can see better, kind of thing, right? And can we turn it up? And she's like, what? I can't hear anything. I went, it's Toto. What? It's Africa. And I was right. And she was like, how in the name of mercy did you hear that? Because I have a hearing issue. I do have a hearing issue, but it's a very weird hearing issue. For me, natural sounds are quieter than electric sounds. So if you stick me on a hearing test, I do fine. Stick me in the world, and I can't hear things clearly. I also cannot hear myself speak, which is why I only have one earphone in, because otherwise I would be absolutely screaming at you, because I would, like all earphones, it subdues the sound, and I would be screaming at you because I couldn't hear myself. It also means that if I put earphones in and try and sing, God help us all, right? Because I can't tell if I'm in tune or not. Because I literally do not hear. It is The Rains Down in Africa. Which is a great song. Let's not pretend. But at the same time, when you can hear, and that's it. Look, it's Africa, isn't it? I'm sorry, what? Did people hear something? Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did. I heard that. I can hear that. Because it's electric. Now, if you were speaking to me, nah, can't hear that. Can't hear that for love. But I also hear, It also means that I hear beeping that other people can't because it's being... Well, and this is one of those weird things. Exactly, right? I have a habit of being able to hear, like, alarms beeping, phones beeping, that other people don't. So I'd be sitting in the office going, what's beeping? And people are going, nothing's beeping. No, seriously, something is beeping. And you'd end up turning all the kit off. Oh yeah, look, there's a quiet beeping in the corner. How over all the fans and the computers and the typing and the speaking, it's like, yeah, but I can hear that. But the other problem I've got, which is really bizarre, and I don't know if any other human being has this problem, so maybe you can answer this for me. If I am walking around and there is a sound that is not directly in my ear, i.e. it's not my headphones, so such as a fan, a siren, that kind of thing. If I am, especially fans especially, so if you've walked past like a generator or whatever, if I am walking, the sound varies as I put my foot down. So stomp, I can't say if it goes up or down because I can't think until it happens, right? But let's say it goes down when I stomp my foot on the ground. So it goes down, up, down, up, down, up. So I hear a fluctuation like this in the sound. If I stand still for a bit, the sound will even out and return to, say, I was going to say somewhere over the rainbow now. And it's the Hawaiian guy version, which I quite like. IZ or whatever his name was. But it's that kind of thing, is that I don't know if anyone else gets that, because it's one of those things is, you're walking across to get a coffee with like 5 other people. Do you now stop and ask them, does the sound change from that generator as you walk? And they'll all look at you like you've grown a head, so you kind of just never mention it, Now, I know why partly I have hearing issues, which was that when I was 3 years old, I had a major ear infection that distorted my ear while I was growing, and has meant that the bones in my head are no longer connected as they should be to provide all of the sounds that I hear. So... Oh, that would be freaky. I think that would be... Fortunately, I don't get tinnitus. Well, that's not true. So my ears have memories. Again, I chalk this up to being weird. Please do not judge me for this. I do not like having hearing tests. For a simple reason, for about 18 months after the hearing test, my brain will play back the hearing test. And I will hear all the high-pitched noises in my ears. They're not there. I don't actually hear them, but I also can hear noises that I think about. So, for example, like you were saying, you're hearing it in your head. I don't just hear it in my head. I physically will tell you I can hear it. It's not my brain going, oh, I remember that. I remember when I was really stressed going to an exam once because I just landed in the country and the exam started in like 20 minutes. And, well, we had a 90-minute journey. And if I arrived late, I wouldn't be allowed in because my school didn't do the you're allowed to be 30 minutes late shit. We also couldn't leave before the end of the exam either. We had a really shitty school. And I'm sitting there, and my favourite song, Together in Electric Dreams, which speaks to me on a lot of levels, I could hear it. Moreover, I could hear, at the beginning, you have like what I call the rainbow noise, which is when it travels like over your head from one side to the other. So it goes, right? I could feel it. I could hear it. I would have sworn on my soul that the car we were in was playing it. But it wasn't. I could hear it. And it was kind of on repeat until we got to school. Because they were taking me straight to school. Yeah, I had to travel back from Africa wearing my school uniform and carrying all the things that I would need to take for an exam. Please understand, when you go through customs, trying to explain why you need a calculator for an English exam. When the short answer is because they won't let me leave early, therefore I need something to entertain myself with, and a calculator is an allowed object. Because I can't draw, so I can't even doodle on the paper, right? I need a calculator. Because I will finish early. It's a given thing. And I know they go... And I think that's where we get into as a society, is that people like me who have something that is exceptionally uncommon, nay, may even be only me, right? However, like you say, is that we get to a point where if you have something that you've never heard anyone else having, well, either you're completely nuts, and I'm not going to pretend that maybe that is true. Sorry, that I am completely nuts. I'm not saying you're nuts. I need to clarify that. But at the same time, when someone else then says that they've got something that you've never heard of, doesn't mean they don't. Because you're sitting there going, well, I've got 3 of those, so who am I to say that you don't have one? Because, well, I've got some. And I think... Well, exactly. I very much agree. I'm nuts, and I embrace it too. But I'm a nutter but harmless variety, in that I am slightly nuts, but I'm not going to do you no harm. I mean no harm. But at the same time, yeah, I'm probably a bit nuts. I've certainly come close to being taken away a couple of times. I do suffer from chronic depression, so that's definitely a thing. But it is one of those weird bits, as you say, is that you can't say to people, you don't feel that. And this was always something that I've struggled with all my life, right? Is when you were at school, you were given 2 grades. Well, exactly. When you were at school, you were given 2 grades, one for effort, one for attainment. Now, I can agree that your grade for attainment is a physical, practical judgment. You got 8 out of 10. That is a fact. You did 80%. Right. Maybe everyone else got 90. You performed less. They gave you a D. Right? But then they'll go, you didn't try. I'm sorry. Are you in my head? How do you know how much I tried? You think you know how much you tried because you think you know how well I should have done. And if I didn't do as well as you thought, you think I didn't try. But that doesn't mean, actually, that I didn't try. I might have been up for 3 weeks in a row, cramming for this, crying my arse out because I couldn't make any head nor tail of it. But I did my best, and you've just now told me I didn't try. What does that mean to me? Well, that means to me I won't bother next time. Because clearly you do not recognise the effort that I put in. And I've always found that. And it's the same as... it's a phrase we use too much. I'm offended by that. Or I'm upset by that. Or that hurts. Well, maybe it does. Who are we to judge that? Now, you might sit there and go, I don't really understand why. Or I can't see your point of view. But you cannot say to someone that didn't hurt them somehow. That maybe you touched on the rawest nerve in their core somehow by saying, I like green shirts. It seems a fairly ambiguous statement that shouldn't be, hurtful to anyone. But maybe it did. And I've always struggled with it from, I won't say a work perspective, but especially in workplace environments. Because obviously you get the... much like your school report, you have your end of year review kind of thing. And you get the, well, we felt that you could have done more of this year. I did a lot of that this year. You just weren't there. Just because 20,000 people in the company didn't run to you going, "Oh, sir, Liz did this, doesn't mean I didn't do it. And it to me, we kind of gone away from, one of the things that I struggle with at a workplace is we've gone away from, did you do your job, i.e. the thing you were employed to do? Did you do that? Yes, no. If yes, hurrah. If no, boo. We've now gone to almost whether you do your job or not is irrelevant. It's how you do this. Did you do your training courses? What training courses are you going to do next year that you don't need because you're still doing the same job? I'm still doing the same job I was doing 20 years ago. And in fact, in 2 days' time, to the day, I walked through my employer's doors, right? And I'm still doing the same job. In fact, I'm doing less of the job today than I did back then because they've hired some people to do some of the bits that I won't say I enjoyed doing because, well, that's definitely not a thing for some of it. But I didn't hate doing all of it, but some people now do some of those bits. So, it's not... But you sit there going, so you're judging me on whether I did, pointless fluffy training courses. And as I said last week, one of the training courses I did for my employer was you promised to do the 3 Ps. For those who are not aware, there are only 3 Ps that can go down the toilet. Pee, poo and toilet paper. My immediate reaction is, so what do I do when I puke? Because chunks don't go down the sink, Now, what they meant was don't put nappies and wet wipes. Well, I work from home. So I do not need to know the emergency number for on site because, well, I'm not there and I don't go there. I think I've been there twice since 2020. Secondly, I do not need to do your health and safety static training because keyboard, mouse. I'm not even pulling my own laptop apart. I'm not allowed. So, what exactly do I need static training for? And I don't even use their toilets, no. And it's the, how should you sit? Well, we all know that in a work environment, your feet should be flat on the grupfloor. I will sit how I'm damn well fucking comfortable, thank you very much. On my couch, not my 5-prong chair. Sorry, HR. It's the... Because I do. Funnily enough, I sit on one foot. I don't sit on both feet. My ex-husband sits on both feet. He kind of crosses... He can do really weird shit with his ankles. So when he crosses his feet, he doesn't have his feet parallel. They kind of like fold over on each other at the back. It's really quite weird. But it... Well, exactly. Don't be telling me what is comfortable for me to be sitting. Now, I can tell you now, if I sat upright all day, I would have chronic backache because I have a curved spine. And as a result, don't be telling me how to sit on my own frigging furniture. There was a thing on Facebook from the local news group, because apparently all of us Brits are parking wrongly in our driveways. And as someone quite rightly pointed out, it's my fucking driveway. I'll park on it how I damn well please. It's my property, my car. If I want to skid into it and, leaving tyre marks, it's my choice, dude. What they actually were referring to is that it is illegal in this country to reverse onto major roads. So if you have a house that's on a major road, you should not be reversing out of your driveway. You should be reversing into your driveway so you drive out. which is primarily how I have always parked, to be honest, because when you're in the car park for the food store or at the shopping centre or whatever, you need to be able to see which idiot's trying to do 110 past the front of you as you're pulling out. Secondly, the front of your car has the steering. Therefore, if you're going in and out, it is much easier to have the steering end, the flexible end, at the front and on the way out so that you can go round. So I've always done that, and I can be really proficient at reverse parking. Well, the absurdity for moaning that you've parked, in their view, wrongly on your own property. Go fish, right? The world needs... I mean, there are things to complain about. So if you park on my driveway without asking my permission, that's a fair cop, right? If you block my driveway, maybe fair cop. You know, all of those kind of things are fair. But my neighbours next door have been told repeatedly, if you wish to park on my driveway, just fucking park on it. Do not ask, just park on it. Because, well, I've only got one car, they've got two, and, for example, at one point towards the end of her life, exactly, if you want to park, like, you know, if the road's this way and you want to park like that, it's your driveway. I will say, as a child, I remember seeing the most astonishingly bad parking in my life. And the police were called, and it was quite funny. So, my dad's road, the road from the high street came down like this. So, the high street's across here. Road comes down and then kind of veers a bit. And as it veers a bit, it also has a spur off it. And my dad lived kind of on the corner. And so did I as a child. Well, later child. Behind the shops from the high street up here runs a little kind of alleyway. It is a drivable alleyway, but an alleyway for loading and unloading of shops, right? Basically, clearly, someone came out the alleyway onto this road and just stopped, blocking the entire road. And fucked off. And left their car there, and it was kind of like, you could see all the cars parked either side, and then this car literally in the middle, and nobody. And so the police were called, because obviously you're blocking the road, you're being a douche, you know. And they got really upset when they came back. Oh, I didn't realise this was a road. What? So when you walked the high street, you know, 100 yards this way, you didn't notice the give way signs and the road names, and really the fact that there's two, well, at the time, as you pulled out of that kind of little alleyway, there was a Toyota dealership there and a second-hand car dealership on the other side of the road. So where do you think they got their cars in and out of from, love? I mean, come on. Yeah. I mean, and excuse me, sir, have you been drinking? Comes to mind, you know. Have you drunk? Have you been drinking today, sir? When did you last... Have you been taking any medicine that perhaps is new to you, sir? You know, these are the kind of questions you imagine going down, because it's like, dude, how high have you got to be to make that real, right? My gran was also somewhat famous for her parking ability, for the wrong reasons. As a small child, I didn't realise it was a meme joke thing. I'd never heard it at this point. But my gran parked alongside a pavement, and I opened the door as the passenger in the back and went, can I have a taxi to the pavement? Because, you know, I could pretty much lie in the gap, end to end, not sideways, end to end. And my gran was a little, and I refused to get back in it until my gran had moved it. I was slightly annoying as a child, apparently. I wonder why. But then I also found this out later. I kind of, it explains it a little bit. Now, obviously, my gran has since passed, as have basically everybody else that this would apply to. But if you were in the war and drove for the army stroke anybody, frankly, during the war, come the end of the war, they didn't make you take a driving test. So she had never done one. It showed! It showed! I mean, don't get me wrong. As an actual... No, you don't. That's for sure. There is a lot you can do to a car without the keys for it. That's definitely a given. Ask students. Students are really good with what you can do with a car without a key, especially older cars. If you've got older cars, frankly, fucking any key opens that shit. But students were known for the dismantling of cars and putting it in a building, or lifting said car and moving it, and actually bodily carrying it or bumping it, depending on the size of the car. But smaller cars were generally carried to new alternatives. Well, exactly. And so, the number of times people would, turn them around, put them the wrong side, get them the wrong places, and, and people would come back and find their cars and go, how in the name did it get there? That's not where I left it. And you don't need keys for none of that. But of course today everything's electronic and fake and yeah. I miss the old days. I really do. And I think the older you get, the more you realise that, old people who kind of like, get off my lawn, you kids, had a point. The grumpy old fart who constantly moaned about, the war and when I was a kid, and they were right. Because you look back now and, back in the day I used to be able to do work on my car, and I can't now because it's all friggin' electronic. And you used to be able to do this, and you could buy this for next to nothing. And I mean, we were reminiscing on stream the other day about the price of sweets. I remember, because frankly I lived in a poor family, but at the time I didn't know we were poor because I didn't know what it was like to have more money, or that other people had more money than us. I just knew that I think we all are, and I think that's the thing, is that actually we all are. To a large extent, we all are. And I remember my treat was, for 1p, or was it half a p? I think it was half a penny, was that I could go down the local sweet shop and get a quart of sherbet pips. And that quarter of sherbet pips would last me forever because, well, frankly, it was about 300 fucking sherbet pips. And I would chomp on them slowly, one by one. After colour coding them, of course. And, obviously half a p is no longer legal tender in the UK. But this doesn't feel right. That's because it's not. You should be twisted, that's why. But you find yourself sitting there kind of going, when you have this, not rose-tinted view, but you look back on the things that I still do it. If you get things like a tube of Smarties, you've got to pour them all out and sort them into colour codes. Opal fruits, you pull them out, sort them into, they're not opal fruits, Starburst, you pull them all out, and M&Ms, pull them out, colour code them. it's just a thing, right? It's like, how do people just like randomly stick their hand in and hope, right? I mean, it's a bit different when it's not your packet, but when it's your packet, they're coming out, I'm sorting them out. But I don't know, I think it's funny how you look back. I mean, for example, my parents' house that when my father died sold for £700,000. They paid £2,100 for it. Can you imagine buying a 3-bed detached house in London for, well, basically my month's salary? I mean, seriously. It's kind of like, what? Because, of course, you didn't earn that back then. And I remember talking to a guy who used to come and collect my tapes when I was doing backups. And he was saying how when he got his degree, he lived in a house full of dentists. And the average salary when you left university, when he left university, because he was older than me, was kind of £1,800 a year. Right? The dentists even then were making 100,000, and it was a different world. They just lived completely in a different world to him. I must admit, I definitely need to go and get new glasses. I really, really do. I won't be able to tell whether you can see, but if I roll them backwards and forwards, you can possibly see that the coating on them's all broken up. Because every glasses company in the entirety of the UK seems to be absolutely insistent that you have anti-reflective coating, and that's what happens to me with anti-reflective coating, is that it breaks up really quickly, and I get really pissed off with it because, oh, we haven't got any without, but you charge me for adding it. Well, yes, but you're saying I can't have a pair of glasses like everybody else today for all the companies who do the same day glasses. You're telling me that everyone else can have a pair of glasses, but I can't because I don't want a coating that you basically have put on all your lenses by default. But you have to charge us for the privilege of putting it on even though I don't want it. Well, yeah. Thanks. And of course it's not like £3 for a coating either. It's like 40 something quid. Hence my glasses are stupidly expensive. But I have to say, these glasses were the cheapest glasses I ever bought in my entire life. These are very focal, and I just wear them for everything because they are good for everything. And the worst part is other than the bit where the coating's gone and where it's gone entirely, I can see perfectly clearly. Yeah, I can't do bifocals because my brain freaks out at the line, and basically all it will do is stare at the line all day, and I won't be able to function, so I have to have varifocals. But my problem is that the coating, because it's broken up, diffracts the light, and so as a result I kind of need to move my head about sometimes to read things. Not because the prescription is wrong, because the prescription's right. The problem is the spotty, crunchy, crappy stuff that's breaking up on the front of my glasses. It's like having water scum on some glass, in that you can see through it, but your brain kind of gets distracted by the fact that this bit's more opaque and that bit's not. And so I struggle, so I often have to move my head around to actually read things, because it kind of, if the font's small enough and or like on my work laptop screen and all that kind of stuff, I kind of have to move it around to make sure that I'm, you know, that's not an A and a B and all the rest of it, because, well, maybe it is, because, well, the little speckles on my glasses are f***ing about with it. But at the same time, I don't really fancy £1,000 pair of glasses because the coating's wearing off. But these glasses were... Now, I need to point out that the company I got them from is still in business, but it got bought out by someone else who, kept all of our emails to annoy the shit out of us by constantly emailing us. You see, I think that's when my autistic brain cell took over. It just found it perfectly normal. Because you look down to read, you look forward to up, and that's where the reading thing is down. And the only difference could be is if you need a reading prescription for your computer. And so, as my friend Petey would say, is you have to read with your chin. Whereas I don't need... Well, I need reading prescription, but because I've got varifocals, I don't need to read with my chin because the bit for my computer... I mean, if I go through my vision bit, I can still read it. And if I go through my reading bit, I can still read it. But if I tell you my reading prescription is +3.5, I've got one hell of a reading prescription, but I can still read my computer because, well, I can. I just can't see it through all of the anti-reflective coating breakup that I've got. But a normal pair of glasses, if I went down a high street optician's, would be about £1,000. The glasses on my face, as I say, the company that I bought them from, they've been bought out by someone else. They kept all of our email addresses to mail us, but they ditched all of the actual information about your orders and your prescription and everything. And so when it came round to, I probably should buy a new pair of glasses, I went to go back to them. They didn't have any details for me. My password wasn't valid anymore. And I wrote to them and I went, my password's not working. Oh yeah, well, we bought them out and we didn't keep any of that. But you've been mailing me all this time. You didn't mention that you bought them out. You've just been mailing us with keep buying. Do you need another pair of cheap glasses? Can you stop then? If you've chucked all my information away, you've just chucked away my business. Bye. But I will say, the first pair of glasses I bought from them, I think were £120 instead of nearly £1,000, right? And that was a varifocal pair of glasses. Certain dog interactions then broke the glasses beyond repair. So I bought a new pair of glasses, but because I bought the previous pair of glasses, you kind of got points for spending money with them. So I had 120 points, which then gave me so much off. These glasses, I seem to recall, were less than £90 for a pair of varifocal, perfectly good glasses. And I've had these now for 5 years. So they're not bad glasses. I did have to replace one of the arms, but that's because the dog did dog things to them too much, and it's straight. And the little, because as you know, when you've got glasses, you've got like the double prong and a single prong and a screw that goes in the middle. The little prong on the arm fell off, so I bought a new pair of arms, which didn't entirely fit. So I had to kind of bend them outwards, hence this one's at a bit of a funny angle. But, it's still good. It's still good. I'm happy with them. I think I had to replace the nose thing on them at one point. And Jesus Christ. Have you ever noticed that you only realise when you take your glasses off just how minging they are? And how, like, oh my good God, I should just bury these alive. Minging they are. Where's pin? I now cannot face putting them back on my face without cleaning out a little bit of the shite in a couple of areas, because now I've seen it, I can't unsee it, if you know what I mean. So, not that it makes a lot of difference, but in fact I won't notice if I just put them back on my face and hadn't seen it, I wouldn't care. But because I've seen it, now I care, you know. Alright, let's do this last row of rose ground. Because it is 11 o'clock and this video will not upload tonight. Or more accurately, I'm not prepared to stay up till this video uploads tonight. Sometimes it goes up a lot quicker than others, but at the same time, which is a bit weird considering there's only me, but that's the other thing that I don't think an awful lot of countries get, is that here in the UK, if you have ADSL, you might have 80/20 speed, which I do not. Well, I do, but I don't, because it's guaranteed only to be 35.6. So I only get 35 down and 6 meg up. But you also share it with 20 to 50 other people. So should they be also busy on the internet, your speed is gonna tank. It is a bit better these days, especially with fibre, but it's still true. You still join a kind of, everyone almost has like a little hub in the phone socket kind of thing, and you all join in the middle. So yeah. I was going to say, what is this song? And he's just explained that this song ends by the guy shooting his son in the head. What? A little bit odd, but yeah. I need that pest, stupid. Putting it away yet. Ads in a minute. Oops, just pinged pins. That launched into orbit. Peggy time! Here we go. Need a pin. I want you, my friend, you bit of Fred, come out there, thank you. Yes, you're on the wrong side. So, time to take a photograph. Like that. So, we didn't do too bad today. I mean, we didn't do a huge amount, but we have made progression, which is, after all that we can hope. We've done we did all of this bit down here today, and we did the big bit in the middle and the cloth stitch in between. And I think we did this bit of cloth stitch as well. I'd have to check from the picture. Well, as long as it grows and you don't end up undoing more than you did, it's always a bonus. I mean, to be honest, it's only Monday, so we're on schedule to finish this triangle before the end of the week. So we will then get to move on to the next triangle, which is always good. Let's stack these up at the back a bit more so that I can rest my laptop on it tomorrow, because that's what I do with it. Extract the cloths out from under the dog. Over the top like that, Here we go. So, we didn't do too bad today. We really didn't. Tomorrow, of course, is another day. I wonder if my licenses will come in for work. Hopefully they will, because otherwise it'll be another joyous day tomorrow. Anyway, I thank you all for joining me. If you didn't get notified by Twitch that I went live earlier, as per the pinned comment, I do have a Discord. It is excessively underutilized at this moment, but it is purely providing alternative notification. So if you do ! Discord while I'm on stream, it will answer with where our Discord is. Obviously, if you start chatting in there and sharing pictures and doing things, be nice, people. Don't want to be banning people and having to do all the mod crap, because just be nice, people. Anyway, I've enjoyed your company this evening, and hopefully you will join me tomorrow. With any luck, hopefully I'll start a bit earlier and not finish at 11:30 at night, because I'm hungry now. And we can convene tomorrow. It should be a thing. So, hope to see you there. Thanks for joining me. Bye bye.